Hi guys and gals. Um, as you can see, my hair is growing back in. That's always how it works. That's the quarantine haircut for men. Not that it's a big deal, but hey, I don't argue because the price was right. So you can also see that, you know. But anyway, I absolutely hate when I forget what subject I'm going to talk about. I absolutely love retro games, and I think I'll be collecting them for quite a long time. Um, it gets kind of pricey. I guess that's a negative I could talk about. See another person that posted a video, and I remembered thinking to myself, you know, maybe it's a negative on that part, and maybe I'll elaborate into that. Some people act stuck up. Like I said, it's possible that you know people act a certain way that they think they don't want people taking their channel lightly or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Uh, Obviously, it's not. I've heard other people complain about it. But today, I know that I had elaborated on. I remember having a video where I talked about, um, you know, the general first rule of gaming. What I believe, the absolute must first is technically. I think you can call it a pre-rule that you should do your research. I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit, even though I think I talked about it. Um, but I feel that you should do your research before getting into video game collecting. And like I said, if you hopefully, the few of you that watch this video, generally the easiest way to do that is just to go to eBay, because that's, as the rule of thumb, what it sells for. And that's the closest we'll ever really get, because there's no official market for it other than the secondhand market. Um, and like I said, I use price charting too because it gives me an idea of, you know, how much things fluctuate, but how much they cost. Gives you an idea how much they are, but eBay is generally the go-to, because that's generally the biggest, as far as I know, the biggest auction selling site that has the most retro games, and that's generally where you go to. You find most of the things you want. I like it because it's also convenient. But this is generally what I say. Um, Ask someone else. And I'll just give a quick rundown about, like I said, I believe I said in the other video, don't, I'm not even repeat myself many times, but just because people, I love talking about it, and newcomers to see that my video for the first time, and I always, you get that question. I think at the time when I had started, I just didn't care, honestly. But I've heard, because I just love video games, but I heard some people say that, they had asked. I remember this panel, and I really wish I was part of this panel, but it would have been even fun to be there. But they had asked the game chasers, and I think Alpha Omega Sin. They asked. I don't know if there was two more people, I think, and they asked them about what you would do, and you had some. You could only talk so much, but I always say that don't get caught up in what you see other people's collections, because a lot of them, like I said, have been collecting for years, but not everyone collects the same way. So, don't get caught up, or, like try to get as much stuff as other people, because it takes a while. A lot of people hunt on a budget, and these are the things they've had. I think of some people that are especially on Facebook. You'll see them on YouTube some places, uh, but it's I say that because you don't want to get overwhelmed, and you don't want to lose. You don't want to get frustrated in a hobby that can get very frustrating very soon. just start collecting for what you want to collect for, and go from there. Don't don't see other people's collections and think you gotta be like theirs or something, or because certain people only collect for certain systems, and like I said, I've heard about some people just collect certain games, certain people collect certain companies, uh, different types of collectors out there, some just the rare, others unopened. I've never met someone yet who collects unopened stuff, but um, rumor has it they're out there, and I could see that. Um, but like I said, don't get excited and get into things. Just start out small, go slow until you start feeling comfortable. Just expand from there and see what you're into. I just like talking about that. Um, and I really hate when I forget what our subject is. So that's one of the reasons I wanted. I figured, why not just elaborate on that? Um, and so I'll get to, if you made it this far, I wanted to talk about Doom Eternal a little bit. Just let my thoughts settle down. I haven't played the game for a month now, I guess, maybe. And maybe it's been a little longer, I don't know. But maybe 6 weeks. But it's a great game. It's a great game for what it is. I love first-person shooters. It's generally a first-person shooter, but you know, it's great for what it is. It's fun, gives you a different kind of challenge that I'm not really used to in first-person shooters. Uh, but the truth of it is, I'm just disappointed. It's a good game. I think I think the first one was generally, Doom 2016 obviously was generally like that game. So it's not really easy saying that. It doesn't make it sound quite like it makes a little sense when I say that it was, you know, still kind of to the point where you could keep on the ground, and you kind of could. Um, it seemed like you could keep on the ground a little bit more, and what I mean is like your traditional first-person shooter where you don't have the ability to jump high or even use any kind of you know any kind of jetpack animations, things like that. Um, Something as such. And like I said, in the first one, I was going to say that and at least when I played on easy, it seemed like you could stay on the ground more. But I know that wasn't the objective of the game. It was to jump around and do glory kills and whatnot. And I have to say, you know, as a Doom fan, I'm, for what it is, it's good, but I don't like it honestly because it's not on the ground. It doesn't I mean it feels like it feel if like I said for what it is, I love it. I love that. And spoiler alert that they brought back. I wish they would have called them cyber demons, but they're called something like tyrants, I think. And I was like, I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm glad they brought the cyber demons back. I always wanted them back. But unfortunately, they're not. You know, I don't think they're quite the same, but they're still pretty challenging. I love them. But I have to say that for the enemy types that I brought back, uh, I enjoyed that. It was really cool. Like I said, it's a great game for what it is. But Doom started out like, I don't. Okay, I get that. You know, you don't exactly have a maze, but I did I just wish it would have been on the ground more. I don't think the jumping and the climbing, it doesn't feel like Doom anymore, and that's my biggest complaint. Um, I it that part aside, I mean, besides not getting a very limited ammo count, having to constantly use the chainsaw, it just didn't feel like Doom. Originally the way I liked it. Originally, when you have to kill monsters with shotguns, and I mean, obviously you do now, but you get what, like, start out with, I think, 16 shells. What was it, 8 shells? Is the most you can get. It's pretty small. Like I said, it's not meant to be that type of game, but that's the kind of game I like. Whether they want to go in a different direction in Doom and people love it, I think it's Call of Duty-ish. I think that's what the idea is. Um, Whatever. I mean, I can't exactly tell a company what to do, but I can say that I do miss, the old, Doom, where it's just challenging, killing the enemies. Um, but if it means anything, if you got the, I think, Rip and Tear pack, you got the pre-download for the N64 Doom, and I was like, well, if you want to go back, I guess it's always funny. It's almost, maybe it's not. It's just a bonus. I remember when you know, maybe not, but it almost feels like they're like, oh, maybe if people don't like this type, they'll go back. But I don't think that was the feeling. I felt that way about the new Twisted Metal game. Like when it first came out, you got Twisted Metal Black, and it was almost felt like it was like, yeah, if they don't like this, at least they have an option to go back. And Twisted Metal Black's a great game. That's still a game I could play today. I think for a second I was thinking that it might have been on. I don't think I downloaded it on my PS3. Anyway, um, so that's my really big rant with that game. I mean, it's a really good game. I should get back to playing it more. But like I said, for what it was good, and it did a great job at it. But I didn't enjoy you know, I was thinking to myself, this even on easy, the great part about it being on easy is it has a challenge to it. Like even on easy, I still felt a little challenged, and it was like partway through the game, I just started actually jumping around in order to live, and I was like, well, this is no fun. I want the classic, I want the classic stay on the ground and stuff, but you know, I guess that's just me. But that's my main complaint. The only thing I could see them doing, other than rebooting the series, would be to start different timelines. Technically, Doom, the original Doom, is supposed to be a Marine, and if I remember, Doom 2, and then Doom 3 was supposed to be essentially a redone of the original Doom. But I really love Doom 3 and still do. So, and then, it was always about the Marine and about the same timeline. And I think it was the same with Doom 64, but I thought it was a little bit of a different story, if I remember. Um, Maybe it was the same timeline. And Doom 3 was totally, a rehash and a retelling of the original. And so I was wondering if they could do different timelines, because I think it could work. Um, the only explanation, appease maybe different fans, but um, now, since of course I forgot what I was going to talk about um, with the retro gaming. Um, and by the way, I'm done talking about Doom Eternal. So if you want to click off, you can. But I'm trying to think that there's so many things to say about retro gaming when you're really into it. So I'll just elaborate what I said before. There's some people who, particularly one person I could think of, well, I'm sure there's a lot of people, but I don't know. They think they know what they're talking about. They think they know everything. And you don't know everything. You can never know enough. And, that's how some people get when they start collecting. After a time, think they know everything, and you can't tell them anything. And it's like, hey, you always learn something new. But I mean, that's the way it is. I think human nature is just to let things get to your head. It's just the way we are. Um, I I wanted to elaborate more on collecting as a whole, and I mean, there's certain things I could say. So obviously, I was thinking about something, of course, earlier, and like everything, I seem to be forgetting things. But I mean, you can go on to say that there's so many topics and so many things to think about, and of course, you think about them after the fact. Um, so with that being said, you know, I'm gonna try to think. Or if you let me, I'm gonna pause this. All right, thanks. I was trying to think. I want to rehash my mind. I hate when I'm always tired when I do these videos most of the time. For some reason, I'll feel awake and then I'll sit here and start feeling tired. Um, it's weird. Um, um, the only way to describe it is like it takes the concentration out of you, like when you drive. It's concentrating. But there are many things that I'll get into this lesson for today that you learn when video game collecting. And one of the great things I contributed to, or I guess this would be essentially positive, is that I'm not afraid to haggle. Not afraid to bargain with people. Uh, Most of the time it works. I've noticed with, like big ticket items, I should say with items that people feel, excuse me, you need, or they feel that they're, you know, maybe they have plenty of people who want them. They feel as if, they don't want to barter. And that usually is, like I said, if I've noticed it with gym equipment or, certain other things that I think people think that you need, but you really never need anything. But it's hard to describe what these items are off the top of my head. Um, but that's the one positive I give it. You always, 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 always haggle. Uh, I don't know if I should even really have that and you must have top 10 things or 20 things you should say, but it's definitely up probably the top 5 that you should always haggle with people. Always try. It's great getting, unless it's a smash deal, um, you know, $20 for a $50 item or whatever. They know it's a good deal, and the only time I don't haggle is when I know it's an absolutely good deal, and that I don't want to personally insult the person. But on a general note, haggle every time. The worst they can say is no, so you really have nothing to lose. Uh, it stinks too that you haggle with some people, they get like babies, and they, oh, you insulted me and blah blah blah. Hey, you do the same. You know, I'm just saying if you wanna, if I can get that $25 item for 20, sorry. I was seeing if I could save $5. You meet different people in the hobby, especially dealing with different collectors. Collectors are at least hard to deal with. I shouldn't say they're hard, but they're knowledgeable, and so they usually know what the item sells for, and uh, those are the ones that I've seen seem to have, they cry if you underbid them or want a little, see if you can haggle. But for the most part, I'm going to say at the same time, a lot of them that I've dealt with, um, they know, you know, what this hobby is about, and that, of course, you're going to haggle when you're trying to get the best price or trying to get a good price. Any little bit helps, and they know this because they know that the hobby isn't the cheapest, and it's not always easy dealing with people and finding the item and all this. So on the same note, I've, and I'm probably going to say that, like, I'm going to say venture to say that 7 out of 10 are generally okay to deal with, because like they know what it's like. They know what it's like to collect, and they know that you're probably a collector, and you care about what you're getting. You want to know about it, and you really they really know that that it's not easy to collect and deal with people and having to deal with all these different factors that you don't normally have to deal with in other hobbies. And the fact that what really makes it hard is that people Google something, they see a price, and that's it. That's what it is, you know. Nobody wants to get 100. Sorry, nobody wants to sell their item for $5 when they think they can get it for 80, or sell it for $80. So I think they're sympathetic to that fact, and like I said, uh, they're easier to deal with on that note. It's also nice to deal with them because that they know what they're talking about, and that they'll describe what condition it's in, and you can generally rely on them because they know how important that is to them, and they figure it's important to you. There's only those few that are babies, that you insult them and then they cry and they get angry, and of course you have people who don't want to talk to you after that, because they're so grown up. But it's just one of the negatives about game collecting. It's dealing with people, just dealing with people. No matter where you are, you deal with idiots all the time. People who get insulted and whatever. Uh, my general rule of thumb is, if you see this video, if you feel in a comfortable spot and you're not 100% sure what to bid or what to say, or if you feel that there's a lot of stuff on there and you want to start negotiating, this might sound like a low ball, but I always say to offer 50%, and because it's 50%, it's right in the middle, so it should still keep them interested, but also uninsulted, that they can work from there. And usually you can still negotiate with people at about 50%. At least when it's like, hey, $10 item for $5. Just give me an example. Obviously, more people, if it's one ticket items, obviously people don't care as much just when you get into those big lots. And usually people can go from there. Usually, not all the time. Some people get insulted, of course, but most of the time I've noticed that if you offer about half of what they're asking for, you get an idea, um, because obviously they're going to try to get as much as they want. They're usually still open to listening to your negotiations. And so say they want $100 and you offer them 50, well, they might say, all right, you know what, I'm not going to go lower than 70. Well, the thing of it is, sure, it's not, you think of it this way, it's not 100, it's 70, so you saved yourself $30 by asking them, that question. Because you always want to come out ahead, obviously. Uh, and, once again, I've said this before, if you're not comfortable with the price, they don't want to come down, they don't want to hear you, they don't want to hear it, and you're not comfortable with it, you walk away. You just have to walk away. It really sucks. It's especially painful and hard to do. If you want something particular, or if you're like me and you love everything, and you really don't want to see it out there getting rained on or getting the sun beat on it, or being abused, essentially, it it's a hard thing to watch because you have to walk away. I mean, you think too all the time, you put into it as well, and you just have to walk away. So, yeah, it is what it is. Um, I always get off ranting on these because I love to talk about this. But one of the negatives I've learned, and this is why I believe that, I even heard this too, and I always believe this in the back of my mind, that it's probably one of the most difficult hobbies because, like I said, you deal with people, and you deal with a lot of people. You know, I think this isn't one of those things where the people who have it know what it's priced and know what to tell you, and you're not one of the lucky be in that lucky situation where you can know where something's value is, and you can usually get good deals on it because people don't know what it's valued at for the most part. Um, but I remember hearing somebody. Uh, now I haven't officially had this happen to me officially, but somebody, I can't remember what video it was, that they said that these prices are too much and yada yada yada, and the lady started screaming at him. You know, I've had sort of close situations, and let me say this before I start talking again, or elaborating, that this is, one of the negatives. This is the point that I was getting to that I forgot earlier. Um, if it's the one thing I remember that I forgot, but uh, I haven't had somebody yell at me, but I've had the one particular lady that I've dealt with a few times is very snobby toward me. She's very hostile, very snippy, very comebacky, and I have to admit, there are a few times that I feel that I'm wrong because I do a lot of thinking with what you know my process is. I do a lot of research. Usually when I find about something, I try to put a lot of thought into it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't feel that I should have been treated snobbily or snippy, or this person should have been the way they were toward me. Um, I don't know why. Probably because they get that a lot. And I feel that at one hand, I'm on the right, that things were a little too much. But after dealing with, the thing of it is, I didn't deal with a lot of stores at the time. And after dealing with a lot of stores, buying things from a lot of, these brick and mortar places, that I had realized later that, I remember one place in particular, that it wasn't really a brick and mortar place. It was, actually, there was one. Yeah, that's the one that, you know what? I'll, yeah, actually, I'll put that together. All right, so I'll get to say that it was in a flea market. And the thing of it is, every time they got a game, they threw it on Facebook, and it was always gone. If it was a good, like Mega Man X, or something like that, it would always disappear real quick. And for the price that it was, and I thought to myself, it seems to be every time we even find out about it, it's gone. So unless they hold it for you, it's up and gone. And I said, you can't make business that way, because it's not like, people even have a chance to come in and buy it, and you know buy other stuff, and make an established customer base. There was another place that would do the same thing for a while, and after a time they started upping their prices. And at first, I was really mad. I was like, oh, there's price gouging. It's popular, so they're price gouging it. And then like, when you know I think at the time I didn't put it together right away, because I didn't know. I wasn't sure if I dealt with the place at the flea market, and then I realized that after the place at the flea market, a totally different place would list their stuff and it would sell real quick. It's like, the problem is, even though at the time, let's say I think Mega Man X was selling for like $15, but they list it for 15 and it goes real quick, and then I get another one and it goes real quick, and it's like it doesn't even stay. It's not even, so pretty much the demand is high and the supply is low. So what you essentially should do is raise your prices, and that's what the one place did. And at first, like I said, I was angry about it, and then after a while I realized, like, even though it upped its prices, and I felt like it was a little unfair, because you figure too that, some people would be like, oh, we have overhead and whatnot, but it's not like they give you, they usually don't even give you 50% for the game. So right there, you're making 50% off of it. and so, I mean, you already know that it's going to be making money, but I, like I said, at the time I was frustrated. I didn't know it, and you're so used to, as a game collector, you're so used to dealing with people who try to, rip you off. Oh, this game's worth this, and this game's worth that. They just want to make some extra. They just want to make some extra quick bucks, and you know what it's worth. Someone trying to say a game's worth 30 when it's only worth 10. You deal with that a lot. So I automatically thought about that with the stores, but they're just trying to price gouge and whatnot. So get that. What I believe is what they were trying to do is what I call get that. I call them nostalgia gamers. Someone who gets in the mood. Oh, I remember Nintendo or something when I was a kid. And then they go to the store and they buy it all up and they spend hundreds of dollars. They want one of those people. Not the people that normally buy the stuff all the time, like me. And the thing of it is, that's what I thought the stores would do, because some of them do that. The one particular store, a different store that I was just talking about in Quakertown, where the lady was snippy with me. That's what they felt. It felt like that's what they were doing there. And everybody and anyone has complained about their prices. And so, long story short, in that aspect, uh, it kind of dawned on me that hey, stores need to up their prices, because the problem is they have competitive prices and everyone buys up all the good games, and then nobody gets to, no one, anyone like me comes in, all the good games are bought, and you're stuck with the crappy games that no one really wants to play, and therefore they go somewhere else. So stores need to up the value of the game so that it generally stays on the shelf, and that when one person comes in and they find what they want, sure, they'll spend a little extra money on it, but you'll probably have an established customer, and then repeat the process. But that's generally what it's about. And like I said, that never dawned on me, that the stores have to deal with that. And I say this because I realized that even though that one store in particular I felt was overpriced, and I'm not going to say they're not exactly not overpriced, because like I said, some of the games seem like they're 5 times the price. That's a little too much to me, but at the same time, I see the point of having something priced more so it stays on the shelf. Because like I said, everyone comes in, and I say basically I made a mistake in a sense that I didn't realize that. So I made the mistake that I should have been more, you know, we don't always do that. We don't always, problem is we don't always take the whole picture in consideration. That's just how we are as human. I should have considered that. And I always feel, when if we ever get to talk again, which may happen sometime soon, not in the too distant future, I may apologize. We'll see. But she also shouldn't have been so mean to me, and she was almost sounded like she wanted to scream at me a few times, but she didn't. Now, like I said, I wish I knew that other person that said that. That I think they even had a small recording of it too. That this woman just started screaming and screaming. Oh, I don't know if you know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah. And that's another thing too. You get people who deal with games a lot, and essentially, basically, theoretically as much or maybe even more than you do, and they're you know sitting there trying to tell you, you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to value of games. Well, I do honestly, and if I don't exactly remember, I know where to go. So I know one time this lady was, she's like, I don't know what the value of this game is. So, well, look up eBay, and it's saying go from there. Oh, well, that's not always accurate. Oh, I want to look where I want to look, or something like that. And I'm like, I see, whatever, you know. As I say, collecting ain't easy. If I haven't said it before. Game chasing. I almost want to be like what they say. That's how game chasing go. But I just decided to make my own line. And I was like, collecting ain't easy. So, till I can remember all the other lessons, thanks for watching this video if you made it this far. I wish I could hear the rate, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. One day, blessed to have the money on a concurrent basis. I want to collect a lot more often than I do now. Uh, I even hate the fact that I've had to buy digital games, but I have no idea, when the ban is about to lift. Definitely, I'm sure they went through their sales have picked up with the quarantine, no doubt. Hope you guys are doing all right with it. Kind of stinks that, everyone, on social media says, stay home, stay home. Well, I got to go shop. I got to buy food. So I have to go out. Um, I hate going to the store because barely anything is there. But anyhow, um, I hope. Oh yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll complain about the cookie dough a little bit. I don't understand why the cookie dough's gone. I guess why people want something sweet. But I'm getting there. I'm like, there's no cookie dough. I want some cookie dough. But it's all gone. But anyway, um, hope you're holding up. Hope you're holding up well. Hope stay safe. I guess if you can, stay inside. But it's, like I said, it's a pain in the butt when it comes to shopping. So you can get anything online, but I've heard certain things are sold out. But you know what? Just do your best. Do what you can. All of us are finding some kind of difficulty in this, and it's just the way it goes. I'm surprised how many people. Sure, it's not like a movie where it's an epic zombie virus, but it's killed a lot of people. I'm actually surprised. So it is, serious. But um, I mean, serious enough that that could actually be harmful. But so hold up. Hope everything goes well for you. Hope and pray you're fine. Hope you and your family are fine. Hope everything for you goes fine. You want to tell me how you're doing in quarantine? I was thinking. I told my friend. I said, for a gamer, it's not so bad in the quarantine, but it's to make light of the situation. So I hope everything goes well for you and your family, and hope you're making out all right. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, as they say. I always want your comments more than anything in the world. Um, but have a great night, day. It's almost 5 in the morning here, and take care.